ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి, జేఈఈ అయినా, నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.
Next, in the case of the nematodes, also circulatory system is absent. Then how the transportation of the various material to the various parts of the body is taken place means through the pseudocoelomic fluid. Through this pseudocoelomic fluid, circulation of various materials may be taken place here. Definitely in the case of the nematodes or in Hosky helminthes individuals, pseudocoelom is present. In pseudocoelomic fluid is present. That pseudocoelomic fluid compensate the lack of circulatory system in transportation of various materials to the various parts of the body. Definitely in the case of the pneumatic helminthes individual, this pseudocoelomic fluid principally useful to transport the nutrient materials as well as oxygen to the various parts of the body. At first in Annelida, closed type of the circulatory system was evaluated. Closed type of circulatory system was at first evaluated in the case of the annelids. Definitely closed type of the circulatory system nothing but if the blood is circulated within the blood vessel, then we can say that is the closed type of the circulatory system. If the blood is circulated within the blood vessel, then we can say that is the closed type of the circulatory system. That was at first appeared in the case of the annelids. But exception case is that though in all annelids closed type of the circulatory system is present, but in the case of the leeches, again open type of the circulatory system is appears. Exception case. But in leeches, open type of circulatory system is appears in the case of the leeches, that is exceptional case. In arthropods, open type of the circulatory system is appears in the case of the arthropods. Again in mollusca also open type of the circulatory system is present. Open type of circulatory system is present in molluscans, but exception case is that in cephalopoda closed type of the circulatory system is there. Though in all kind of the molluscans open type of the circulatory system is very clearly appear. Exception case is that in the case of the cephalopods, that is again closed type. In echinodermata again open type of the circulatory system. Without exception in the case of the echinodermata, again that is the open type. In the case of hemichordata also open type of the circulatory system is appears. that is open type of the circulatory system. In the case of the urochordata also, open type of the circulatory system is present. Again in cephalopoda, closed type of the circulatory system. Again from fishes onwards to mammalia also. Fishes, amphibia, reptiles, aves and in mammals. In all of this, closed type of circulatory system is present. Definitely from fishes onwards to mammals. In all this, definitely closed type of the circulatory system is very clearly present here. In that way, in almost all kind of the euthylomet individual, well-developed circulatory system must be required for transportation of the oxygen and nutrients to the various parts of the body. In the closed type of the circulatory system or in open type of the circulatory system, definitely blood have to be circulated. For that kind of the circulation, pumping station must be required. In all kind of the circulatory systems, circulation of the blood have to be taken place either through the blood vessels like that of the closed type of the circulatory system or through the body cavities or sinuses like that of the open type of the circulatory system. Definitely in both cases also blood have to be circulated continuously. Then for that circulation, a pumping station must be required. That pumping station is nothing but heart. Definitely in circulatory system, the pumping station which is present, that is said to be as the heart here. This heart is responsible for rhythmic contraction and relaxation. By that way, that continuously allows the circulation of the blood through the various parts of the body for transportation of the oxygen and nutrients to the various parts of the body. Again, in blood of the person, what kind of the proteins are present means, in blood of the person 4 kind of the proteins are present. One is the albumin, second one is the globulin, third one is the fibrinogen. So what are the proteins which are present in the blood of the person means? One is the albumin, second globulin, third one is the fibrinogen, fourth one is the prothrombin. Prothrombin. What is the use of albumin? Means that is useful for blood colloidal osmotic pressure. That is useful to maintain the concentration of the blood. Blood colloidal osmotic pressure nothing but concentration of the blood. That is commonest type of the protein which is present in the blood of the person. This is very common, that is abundant. This is the abundant type of the protein. This is useful to maintain blood colloidal osmotic pressure means that is useful to maintain the concentration of the blood. If in the case albumin proteins are decreases in number, concentration of the blood is decreases. By that way, from the blood water is gets moves out by osmosis. That water is accumulated in the surrounding tissue. By that way, surrounding tissues maybe shows this swelling. That disease is said to be as the edema disease. Definitely, whenever the albumin protein percentage decreases in the blood of the person, this concentration of the blood is decreases than surrounding body fluid. By that way, by the osmosis, water from the blood is gets moves into the surrounding tissue. By that way, surrounding tissue shows this swelling. That is said to be as the edema condition. Means what I am saying here that albumin protein is necessary for maintenance of the constant blood colloidal osmotic pressure, for maintenance of the constant concentration of the blood. Second, globulin proteins, they are principally useful for defense. Specifically, gamma globulins useful to form the antibodies. To synthesize antibody, this gamma globulins are principally helpful. This antibodies principally fight against to the pathogen to provide the protection to our body. So in that way, globulin proteins are principally involved in the defense of body. Specifically, globulin proteins are of three types. One is the alpha globulin, second beta globulins, third one is the gamma globulins. This gamma globulin proteins principally useful for synthesis of antibody. By that way, they may be useful for the immunity development. By that way, they may be useful to provide the protection to our body. Globulin proteins, specifically gamma globulins, useful to synthesize antibody. By that way, they provide the defense to our body. This fibrinogen, prothrombins principally involved in blood clotting. By that way, they may be involved in the hemostasis. What is the meaning of the hemo? Means blood. Stasis means constancy. If in the body of the person constant volume of the blood is maintained, even during the injuries also, by allowing the blood clotting procedure, if constant volume of the blood is maintained in the body, then that is said to be as the hemostasis. In the word hemo means blood, stasis means constant. Constant volume of the blood, if it can be maintained, constant volume of the blood, if it can be maintained by allowing the blood clotting procedure during the injuries also, then that is said to be as the hemostasis. Hemostasis is differed from homeostasis. You should remember here, don't confuse. Hemostasis is differed from the homeostasis. What is the meaning of the homeostasis? maintenance of constant water and salt level inside of the body, maintenance of the constant salt water levels inside of the body, and constant body temperature is collectively called as the homeostasis. Maintenance of internal constancy environment such as the constant water level, constant salt level, constant body temperature is collectively called as homeostasis. But maintenance of the constant volume of blood inside of the body is said to be as the hemostasis. That is mainly by the involvement of the blood clotting, that is mainly by the involvement of the fibrinogen and the prothrombin. These two type of the proteins are responsible for initiation of blood clotting procedure during the injuries to the blood vessel. By that way they stops bleeding, by that way they maintain constant volume of the blood inside of the body during the injuries also. In that way, fibrinogen prothrombin principle useful to maintain constant volume of the blood by allaying blood clotting process. Next, what kind of the fluids principally circulate in our body for transportation of various materials means the main fluid is the blood. In addition to that, lymph also circulated. So definitely for transportation of various material to various parts of the body, blood as well as the lymph are circulated. So that only these two type of the fluids are collectively called as the fluid connective tissues. These two are together constitute fluid connective tissue. Because these two type of the fluids continuously circulate in the body, they may be useful to connect various parts of the body by transportation of nutrients and oxygen. So that only these two tissues together constitute fluid connective tissue. Another important point, in the person's body, naturally in adult person about 5 liters of the blood is present. In adult person, to maintain constant volume of the blood, what are the hormones which may be take part? What are the two types of the hormones which are play a greater role in maintenance of constant volume of the blood in the person means, one is the ADH, that is nothing but antidiuretic hormone or vasopressin. This is also called as the vasopressin. Second type of the hormone is aldosterone, is the second type of the hormone. These two type of the hormones are principally useful for maintenance of constant volume of the blood in the person's body. For maintaining of the constant volume of the blood in the person's body, ADH as well as the aldosterone hormones play a greater role. This is the introduction of circulatory system. Introduction of circulatory system. This entire information is introduction of the circulatory system only. Next, the first topic in circulatory system. The first topic in circulatory system is lymphatic system. First topic in circulatory system is lymphatic system. Lymphatic system is said to be as the open circulatory system. Why we say lymphatic system is open circulatory system means whatever the lymph which is circulated through lymphatic system is came from open area such as extracellular space. Whatever the lymph which is circulated in lymphatic system, in lymph vessel, lymph duct, that is drained from the open space, that is the extracellular space. So that is said to be as the open type of the circulatory system. Again, in the lymphatic system, what are the structures which are present? What are the vessels which are present in lymphatic system of the person means? Just assume this is the one tissue. This is the one tissue. In the tissue, this is the one cell. This is the another cell. In a tissue, this is the one cell, this is another cell. Between the two cells, whatever the space which is present, among the cells, whatever the space which is present, this space is said to be as the extracellular space. This space is said to be as the extracellular space. Space which is present between the two cells in a tissue is said to be as the extracellular space. In extracellular space, this capillary network is present. Capillary network is present. Then what kind of the capillary network is present means? Arterial capillary network is present. Venous capillary network is present. Lymphatic capillary network is also present. Means arterioles, venules, lymph capillaries, respective networks are present in this particular area. Lymph capillaries can form the network. Arterioles can form the network. Venules also can form the network. At first, when we observe the lymph capillary network, just assume this is the one lymph capillary. This is the another lymph capillary. This is the lymph capillary. These lymph capillaries are microscopic tubules. They are very small in size. They are microscopic tubules. They are blind tubules. These are blind tubules. They are microscopic. What is the meaning of the blind? Like that of a test tube, they may be ends or closes at one end. In another end, they are with open. Blind tubule, nothing but in one end they are in closed state like this. In one end they are in close. In another end they are with open. That is said to be as the blind tubule. That is the microscopic, means they are very, very small in size. Such lymphocapillaries, which maybe appears in extracellular space, that lymphocapillaries are united and form the big sized vessel that is said to be as the lymph vessel, that is said to be as the lymph vessel. Again, lymph vessels are united and form big sized lymph duct. Big sized lymph duct, you should remember, diameter of lymph capillary is less than diameter of lymph vessel. Diameter of lymph vessel is less than diameter of lymph duct. Definitely, diameter from the lymph capillary to lymph duct is gradually increases, or from the lymph duct towards the lymph capillary, diameter is gradually decreases. From here to here, diameter is gradually increases. Again, this lymphatic ducts are of two types. One is the left lymphatic duct. Definitely, lymphatic ducts are of two types. Lymphatic ducts are of two types. One is the left lymphatic duct or thoracic duct or chyliferous duct. Second one is the right lymphatic duct. Second one is the right lymphatic duct. Principally, two lymphatic ducts are appears in our lymphatic system. One is the left lymphatic duct, that is said to be as the thoracic duct or chyliferous duct. This is the largest lymphatic duct in our body. Left lymphatic duct is the largest, that collect lymph from the legs, from both sides of the legs also. Left lymphatic duct collect the lymph from both sides of the legs, from both sides of the abdomen, from left side of the chest, from left arm, left side of the neck, from the left side of the head region. Means left lymphatic duct collect lymph from the left both sides of the legs, from the both sides of the abdomen, from the left side of the chest, from left shoulder and left arm, from the left side of the neck, from the left side of the head region. Again, this is the largest. This is the largest. It collect lymph from both sides of legs, again from abdomen of both sides, abdomen and from left side of chest and left side of arm, left side of neck and left side of head region. So definitely this left lymphatic duct or the thoracic duct or the chyliferous duct is the largest one. It collects the lymph from the both sides of the legs and abdomen, both sides of the abdomen also. It collects the lymph from the left side of the chest, left arm, left side of neck, left side of the head region. Right lymphatic duct only collect the lymph from the right part of chest region, right side of the chest, right shoulder and arm, right side of the neck, right side of the head region. Definitely right lymphatic duct may not collect the lymph from the legs and abdomen. Right lymphatic duct may not collect the lymph from the legs and abdomen. That only collect the lymph from the right side of the chest region, right shoulders and right arm, right side of the neck, right side of the head region. Means right lymphatic duct collects lymph from right side of chest, right side of chest, right side of neck, right side of arm and right side of the head region. Right lymphatic always collect the lymph from the right side of the chest, right shoulders and arm, right side of the neck, right side of the head region only. So in that way, lymph capillaries which may be appears in the extracellular space, they unite and form the lymph vessel, lymph vessels and finally unite and form the lymphatic duct. Definitely lymphatic ducts opens into free caval vein at the junction between the internal jugular vein and subclavian vein. Definitely this kind of the lymphatic duct is opens into the free caval veins of both sides. This is the right free caval vein. This is the left free caval vein. Just assume this is the right free caval vein. Right lymphatic duct is opens into the right free caval vein at the junction between the internal jugular vein and subclavian vein. Here this is the left free caval vein. Again this is the internal jugular vein. This is the subclavian vein into which this left lymphatic duct is gets open. This is the internal jugular vein, this is the subclavian vein. This is the subclavian vein, this is internal jugular vein. At the junction between, this is the internal jugular vein. This is the subclavian vein. Definitely finally lymphatic duct opens into free caval vein of respective side, means left lymphatic duct is opens into left free caval vein at the junction between the internal jugular vein and subclavian vein. Similarly, right side of lymphatic duct, just assume this is the right free caval vein, this is the internal jugular vein, this is the free caval vein, this side of the right lymphatic duct is opens into the right free caval vein at the junction between the internal jugular vein and free caval vein of this side. In that way, left lymphatic duct is opens into left free caval vein. Finally, at the junction between the subclavian vein and internal jugular vein of this side, right side of the lymphatic duct is opens into right free caval vein at the junction between the internal jugular vein and the subclavian vein. Here also, this is the internal jugular vein, this is the subclavian vein. Definitely this is just assume as the right lymphatic duct. Right lymphatic duct is opens into right free caval vein at the junction between the internal jugular vein and subclavian vein of this side. Left lymphatic duct is opens into left free caval vein at the junction between the internal jugular vein and subclavian vein. Again, when we observe the lymphatic duct and lymph vessel, when we observe the lymphatic duct and lymph vessel wall, this lymphatic duct as well as lymph vessel walls are similar to veins walls. When we observe the structure of wall of the lymphatic duct and lymph vessel, in wall of lymphatic duct and lymph vessel, definitely three principal layers are present, like that of the vein wall, like that of the vein wall. In the wall of the lymphatic duct and the lymph vessel, three distinct layers are present. What are the three layers means? This is the outermost layer. This is said to be as the tunica externa. Tunica externa, that is the outermost layer which is present in the wall of the lymphatic duct and lymph vessel. Middle layer which is with smooth muscle, this is the tunica media. This is with the smooth muscle, that is the middle layer. Innermost layer is said to be as the tunica interna. This is the tunica interna, that is made up of with the simple squamous epithelium. Specifically in the tunica externa, connective tissue is present, that is the mesothelium. Connective tissue, that is the mesothelium, is present. Definitely in the case of the tunica externa connective tissue, it is made up of with the connective tissue. Tunica media is made up of with the smooth muscle. It is with the areolar connective tissue, that is the mesothelium. This is with the connective tissue. Tunica media is with the smooth muscle. This is with the smooth muscle. This is with the endothelium. Tunica interna is with the endothelium. Tunica externa is made up of with the areolar connective tissue. tunica media is made up of with smooth muscle. Tunica interna is made up of with endothelium. Endothelium nothing but simple squamous epithelium. This tunica interna principally made up of with the simple squamous epithelium, that is said to be as the endothelium. Then what is the use of the tunica media? What is the use of the smooth muscle? Means this smooth muscle contraction is useful to cause the peristaltic movement in lymph capillary and lymph vessel. That is useful to get the drain. That is useful to pump the lymph from the lymph capillary towards the caval vein. Definitely for circulation of the lymph through the lymphatic system, this peristaltic movements must be required. Peristaltic movements means wave-like movements which may be occurs in the lymphatic system. Wave-like movements which are occurs in the lymphatic system are said to be as the peristaltic movement. That peristaltic movements must be required for circulation of the lymph through the lymphatic system towards the caval vein. So definitely smooth muscles of tunica media are responsible to exert, are responsible to cause peristaltic movement in the lymphatic system. Again, inside of tunica interna, certain foldings which are present, that foldings are said to be as the valves. Definitely lymph vessels are valvular. Lymph ducts are valvular, means like that of the vein. Here also valves are present in the case of the lymph vessel and lymphatic duct. Definitely veins are with the valves, lymph vessels are with the valves, lymph ducts also with the valves here. Next, what is the mechanism of the formation of the lymph? What is the mechanism of formation of lymph?